Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to everyone who's coming on, all of my replay viewers, welcome. If you didn't get a chance to catch me live, I hope that if you have any questions, you'll tweet at me at LoveHopeAdvent, and you can start a conversation with me over there if you have any questions, or you can always visit me at my website, lovehopeadventure.com. I'm going to turn my camera around so we can talk. Hello! Welcome everyone. If this is your first time with me, hi Rockbuster. If this is your first time with me, my name is Keely. I'm the owner of lovehopeadventure.com. I blog about the marriage relationship, intimacy in marriage, how to have a better relationship with your spouse. I also do some lifestyle posts, so sometimes blogging, crafting and cooking and stuff like that. So but the main heartbeat of Love Hope Adventure is to help people have better marriages. And I was going to kind of do like maybe a little bit more fun scope today because it's Friday and, you know, getting ready, gearing up for the weekend. But I kind of got really fired up earlier about a concept. And I have been thinking about this concept for probably about 2 weeks. I write for somebody. Her name is Rhonda Swan. She's at the Unstoppable Family and unstoppablemama.com. She had posted this video the other day, and I was looking at it, and she posed this question: is success in your business an option? And she had talked about how she was talking with somebody who was telling her, well, I am just too overwhelmed in life to really get started in my business, to be successful in it. And the person just, obviously really was struggling. But Rhonda posed this question to her. She said, if your kid was sick, what would you do if they were really sick? And the person said, well, I'd take them to the hospital. I'd get them the care they needed. I would, I'd do whatever it took. And then she said, okay, what about this? If your child was in, a bad situation, and they were in an unsafe place, what would she do? She'd like, I would go in there, I would tear the place apart, and I would save my child. I would do whatever it takes. I would get it done. And then she posed this question, well, if that is the case, for the sake of your kids, you would do whatever it took to feed them, whatever it took to keep them safe. Why won't you do what it takes to have success in your business so that you can have long-term provision for them? And I was thinking about that in context of marriage. And I'm not necessarily trying to hone in on the point today that you need to be successful in your marriage for just the sake of your children, although I really think that does need to be one of your considerations. Because people, let me tell you something. Divorce is going to be a problem even on into your child's adult life. If you waited until they moved out of the house, divorce is going to cause huge problems even for your adult kids. My husband's parents are divorced, and it can be really a big struggle. It was a huge struggle for every single major event that we've ever had, and it continues to be. And every wedding and funeral and birth of a baby or whatever, where everybody has to all come into town, let me tell you something, that divorce has negatively impacted the family. And it has for years and years and will continue. So don't think, well, we'll just get by until our kids move out and then nobody's going to care. Oh, absolutely. Divorce is devastating. Now, I will put a disclaimer here. I'm not saying that if you are in an abusive relationship where your spouse is beating you up, that you should try and push through that and stay in it, okay? I feel like we have to keep making that same disclaimer. Every marriage blogger out there and every blogger out there who is really pushing for people to work through it and be successful in their marriages, because there's always that one person who speaks up and says, well, I was in an abusive relationship and I don't think you should stay there. Well, no, we don't think that either. We don't think that you should stay in a home with someone who's beating you up. Does that mean you have to divorce them? I don't know, but it does mean you should get to safety, right? So maybe that can be something we discuss at a later date. But in our marriage, the question I have for you is success in your marriage an option? Do you have the same attitude and passion to be successful in your marriage that you have for other really important things. So, for example, if your kid was in a dangerous situation, you would literally do whatever it took to get them out, right? There wouldn't be an option for being successful in that. If anything, you're going to die trying. What about in our marriage and our relationship with our spouse? Now, I'm not saying that it's a good idea for you to just say, well, I'm going to just put up with whatever so we don't get divorced and I'm just going to lay low. That's not the definition of success. Success isn't, well, I'm just going to do whatever to get by or whatever. Success is growing. It's changing. It's always achieving something new, setting out a goal and working towards it. So it's not just this, well, I'm going to stay in a miserable marriage for the sake of not getting divorced. That's not a successful marriage. That's not success in marriage either. What it is just kind of settling and being okay to be in a rut. That will happen for periods of time, but that should not be your entire marriage. Your whole marriage shouldn't just be you being in a rut forever. You have to work towards progress in your marriage, in your relationship. So my question to you today is success in marriage an option for you? And if there is this part in your mind that feels like it's an option for you, you are going to struggle deeply to succeed. Because when you think there is an out, when you think there is a way for me to get away from this, to be done with this, instead of pushing on and pushing forward, you give up. And this happens in all kinds of areas of our life. If you go into the situation with the wrong mindset and you don't have success ingrained in your mind, I will be successful. It doesn't matter how many times I fail. It doesn't matter what I do and don't have. I'm just going to pick myself up every single time and I'm going to move forward. So we think, okay, that success is just handed to people. The people who have had success in their life, it's just been given to them. So maybe you see a couple that has a successful relationship and you say to yourself, well, they're successful because they're just the right people for each other. They apparently picked the right person. No, those people have done all the very hard things that it takes to have a successful marriage. And they continue to do it because there is no amount of investing in a relationship that is going to keep it from tanking if you quit investing. There's just no amount of investment, all right? It's like, think of it this way. If you had money, you put it in the bank, you put the money in the bank, it's going to get you for a little while, but if you don't replenish the money, it's going to run out, and then you're going to be in a bad place. The same thing goes with relationships. You invest in the relationship, and you continually invest, or you drain the accounts, and you're left in a very bad situation. So you can't live off the past. You can't say, well, we used to have this really rocking relationship. We used to go on a lot of dates. We used to have a lot of fun. That will all go away. If you aren't spending time with your spouse, if you aren't doing the things necessary to communicate to one another, working toward problem resolution, and doing the things that it takes to keep a relationship going and keep it successful, then you're going to fail. But success absolutely starts in your mind, including in your marriage. All right? Don't go into the marriage thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll get a divorce. No. Let me tell you, all relationships are a lot of work. And if you do get married to somebody and you say, this isn't working out, I'm going to get a divorce and go to a different person, you will find, you talk to a lot of people who've been divorced, right? And you talk to them about the relationships that they have with the second spouse. And they are going to tell you that what they have found is the problems are still there. There are problems in all marriages and all relationships. Now, I'm not saying that every divorced person on the planet should have stayed with their first spouse. I really don't know. I mean, that's honestly between you and God, and what's done is done. But you have to, at some point, say, we're going to start putting in the work. We're going to start doing it the right way. We are going to compromise with each other, work through our problems, not give up on one another or on our relationship. At some point, it has to start, whether it's your first marriage, your second marriage, your third marriage, wherever you are. At some point, you have to invest in your relationship, keep investing in it, and work towards building a good marriage. And even though you've worked really hard towards building a good marriage, there may be times where your marriage isn't good anymore. Marriages have seasons. So in one season, maybe it's really great, and in another season, things aren't going so good. And then you push forward to the better season. So don't stay in the bad seasons. Don't be like, well, I'm just going to camp out here and spend the rest of my life in a miserable marriage. No. Success in marriage is when you really work hard to get there, doing whatever it takes. I'm going to tell you, doing whatever it takes sometimes looks like swallowing your pride, being okay that the situation is unfair and that your spouse didn't meet your needs, but you're going to go on anyway. You're going to pick up anyway. It means failing and saying, okay, well, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get back on this thing with my husband or my wife, and we are going to work towards it. Even if they don't want to be a part of that, I am going to do everything I can do everything I can within my power or die trying to get my marriage back where it needs to be. So that's my encouragement for you guys today. Ask yourself, is success in marriage an option? And goodness, I hope it's not. Because when it's an option, you don't work as hard. When anything in life is an option, you don't do everything it takes. You might say you've done everything it takes, but I'm going to tell you no. No, you didn't. Because if you aren't successful eventually, with enough failures, you're going to be successful. Then you aren't giving it all. You aren't doing everything. It's that same picture of if my child was in a dangerous situation, how far is too far? How far would I go? Well, let me tell you, I think you go to the end. And that's where you have to be in your marriage and your relationship with your spouse. Go with them until the end. So that's my encouragement for you today. If you want to find out what I've been blogging about, go to lovehopeadventure.com. And if you didn't get to see me live and you have any questions for me, you can talk to me through my contact page. I have an email address up there that you can email me, or you can tweet at me, lovehopeadvent. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back on around the same time on Monday.